Deep within an ancient forest, there lived a herd of gentle deer. Amongst them was a young and curious fawn named Fawn, who loved exploring the woods with his 3 best friends, a wise old crow named Cork, a clever field mouse named Squeaky, and a calm and collected box turtle named Shelly. Now, despite their differences in species, they were the best of friends, always looking out for each other. One sunny afternoon, while the friends were enjoying a snack, Fawn suddenly perked up, his ears twitching. "Do you hear that?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. The others fell silent, listening intently to the distant sound of an axe and a hunter's whistle. "It's just the lumberjack," Shelly said calmly. "He won't bother us here. He only cuts down trees." But Fawn couldn't help but feel uneasy. "Let's just hope he doesn't get any closer," he whispered, nervously glancing at his companions. As if summoned by Fawn's words, the lumberjack stepped into the clearing where the friends were hiding. Fawn froze, his heart pounding in his chest. Squeaking also trembled in fear, while Cork let out a harsh squawk, flapping his wings in agitation. Only Shelly remained composed, her eyes fixed on the lumberjack. The lumberjack, engrossed in his work, didn't notice the animals until he had chopped down a large tree near them. Startled by the loud noise, he turned around, his gaze falling upon the deer. With a shout, he dropped his axe and grabbed his rifle, aiming it directly at Fawn. Fawn screamed in terror, dashing away as fast as he could. The lumberjack, enraged by the deer's movement, fired a shot that missed its mark, echoing through the silent woods. Fawn stumbled through the underbrush, his breath heavy and uneven. He dared not look back to check if the hunter was pursuing him. His legs ached, and he knew he couldn't keep this up for long. Suddenly, he spotted a small opening ahead and dashed towards it, hoping to find shelter. However, as he reached the opening, he realized it was a dead end. Trapped and exhausted, he collapsed onto the ground, his eyes filled with despair. Meanwhile, Squeaky, Cork, and Shelly watched from a distance as Fawn disappeared into the forest. They knew they had to do something to help their friend, so they started following the trail left behind by the lumberjack. Upon finding Fawn trapped in the cave, they quickly devised a plan. "I'll distract the hunter while you two free Fawn," Squeaky whispered urgently. Cork nodded his head in understanding. "All right, Squeak, lead the way," he replied, and together they set off to find the lumberjack. Squeaky scurried through the undergrowth, keeping a sharp lookout for the hunter. Meanwhile, Cork flew ahead, perching on a nearby tree branch to get a better view of their surroundings. He had spotted the lumberjack and was now waiting for Squeaky to lead him into a more secluded area. As the lumberjack walked deeper into the forest, following the tracks left by Fawn, Cork swooped down from his hiding spot, landing on the man's hat and letting out a series of loud squawks. The hunter, startled by the sudden appearance of the crow, swatted at it, trying to shoo it away. This gave Squeaky the opportunity to sneak behind a log and hide. The hunter, unaware of the trick, continued his pursuit of the deer, venturing further and further into the dense underbrush. Little did he know, he had walked right into Shelly's waiting area. Shelly had chosen a spot near a cluster of tall reeds that swayed gently in the breeze. She knew the hunter wouldn't expect to find her there, and she was right. As the hunter passed by, Shelly slowly emerged from her hiding place and began moving towards Fawn's location. As the hunter moved away from the clearing, Fawn felt a surge of hope. He knew his friends were trying to help him, and he trusted them to succeed in their mission. In the meantime, Shelly had reached the entrance of the cave where Fawn was trapped. She knew she had to act quickly, so she started to lay down a series of misleading tracks, making it seem as though she were moving away from the hunter. Her plan was to lure the hunter away from the area and hopefully break free from the forest without being noticed. The hunter, hearing the noise, turned around and saw Shelly slowly moving away from him. Thinking he had finally spotted the deer, he raised his rifle and took aim. But before he could pull the trigger, Squeaky appeared on the hunter's shoulder, squeaking loudly and flapping his wings. This sudden commotion startled the hunter, causing him to miss his shot. Startled by the crow's unexpected appearance, the hunter tried to brush it off as a fluke. But little did he know, it was all part of Cork's plan. As the hunter lowered his rifle, ready to make another attempt at hitting the turtle, Cork dive-bombed him, pecking at his face and eyes. The hunter, caught off guard and blinded by surprise, stumbled backward, crashing into a nearby tree. Seizing this opportunity, Squeaky darted forward, latching onto the hunter's hat and pulling it off his head. With the hunter momentarily distracted, Shelley took the chance to dart across the clearing, disappearing into the bushes. The hunter, realizing what had happened, turned his attention back to Squeaky, who was still perched on his hat, taunting him with his loud squeaks. Enraged by the persistent rodent, the hunter reached out to grab it, but Squeaky was too quick, darting away before the hunter could make contact. Instead of grabbing the mouse, the hunter's hand landed on nothing but air. As the hunter continued to flail about, trying to catch Squeaky, Cork swooped down and pecked at his face again, sending him stumbling back. Determined to get rid of the pesky crow, the hunter waved his arms wildly, accidentally knocking his rifle out of his hands. The gun clattered to the ground, providing Squeaky with the perfect opportunity to strike. With a well-aimed kick, Squeaky sent the rifle rolling further away, out of the hunter's reach. Seeing his chance to escape, Squeaky scurried over, gnawed on one of the ropes securing the gun to its tripod, and started chewing on it with all his might. At first, the rope seemed unyielding, but Squeaky refused to give up. He gnawed and pulled, his small teeth working tirelessly to break the fibers holding the deer captive. Meanwhile, the hunter, realizing what Squeaky was doing, lunged forward to stop him, but it was too late. With a final tug, Squeaky managed to break free from the ropes, freeing Fawn from his captivity. Reunited with his friends, Fawn felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. He nuzzled Squeaky, expressing his thanks for his bravery. In return, Squeaky simply smiled, happy to have helped his friend. Together, the four friends made their way back to their home in the forest, where they were greeted by the rest of the deer herd. Fawn excitedly shared his adventures with his family, and the other animals listened with admiration and awe. They praised the courage and quick thinking of Fawn, Cork, Squeaky, and Shelley, celebrating their unity and cooperation. From that day forward, the bond between Fawn, Cork, Squeaky, and Shelley became even stronger. They continued to protect and care for one another, always ready to help in times of need. And whenever they faced danger, they knew that as long as they stood together, they could overcome any obstacle. And so their tale of bravery and friendship echoed through the ancient forest, reminding all who heard it that unity and cooperation are the greatest strengths of all.